A landing burn is a calculation performed in real time with zero margin. Success is measured in fractions of a degree and milliseconds of thrust, where a massive rocket descending toward a pad functions less like a vehicle and more like a high-stakes balancing act. Historically, aerospace engineering attempted to solve this by dividing the vehicle into isolated departments. You put the structural team in one building to worry about the hull, the guidance team in another to track the trajectory, and the propulsion team down the hull to maximize the thrust. The problem is that the universe has no interest in our organizational charts. In a dynamic flight environment, a microscopic vibration in a propulsion valve becomes a structural failure, which instantly becomes a trajectory catastrophe. The Universal Model's aerospace protocols included dedication to Elon Musk for proving that these systems cannot be engineered in isolation. By making the landing burn a routine event, he showed that the airframe, the path, and the engine must all survive on the same razor's edge, with the propellant nearly gone. If we are to move beyond Earth orbit to deep space, we have to move past siloed thinking. We need a unified diagnostic language that identifies the exact point of failure at any millisecond of flight. This is the triadic registration equation. U equals the cube root of form times position times action. It acts as a filter, sorting every component of a flight vehicle into three interacting categories. Form is the persistent physical geometry. It includes the airframe, the moving grid fins, and the internal volumes of the pressure tanks. Position is the contextual location in space. It maps the trajectory, the altitude, and the atmospheric resistance working against the vehicle. And action is the energy release, the combustion dynamics, and the active control of thrust. Because these variables multiply rather than average, they are subject to the law of non-compensation. A brilliant engine firing at 100% action cannot save a hull with 0% form. A single dead pillar collapses the entire system. A spacecraft cannot average its virtues. Survival requires absolute, simultaneous balance across structure, space, and energy. This creates a diagnostic tool called weakest pillar triage. It allows engineers to identify which of the three variables is the active bottleneck at any specific moment of a mission. At liftoff, the bottleneck is action. The raw energy release must be massive enough to overcome gravity and pull the vehicle off the pad. As the rocket hits max Q, the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure, the bottleneck migrates to form. The question is no longer about thrust, but whether the physical geometry can survive the atmospheric stress. During re-entry, the test is simultaneous. The vehicle must maintain form against the heat of plasma, while maintaining a precise position to avoid bouncing off the atmosphere. The landing burn is the ultimate expression of this triage. The propellant is nearly gone, the trajectory is locked to a single point, and the airframe is battered. Success happens only because engineers manage all three pillars while they are resting at their lowest floor of survival. Reusable rocketry succeeded because we learned to treat these variables as one unified system. Moving beyond the atmosphere toward the stars requires us to scale this triadic logic from modern rockets to interstellar architecture. The Discovery protocols suggest that optimal interstellar travel requires a shift away from classical engineering. For decades, we have focused on simply building bigger engines to increase action capacity. But triadic logic reveals that increasing thrust alone is a dead end for crossing the light years between stars. Instead of maximizing thrust, the goal shifts to a specific ratio. We must minimize action impedance, the losses from friction and radiation, and maximize form resilience, using advanced materials and managed internal time, like hibernation. This logic treats the vacuum of space as a medium with its own resistance. By precisely balancing action flows and form configurations, we reach a theoretical threshold called metric engineering, the ability to modify local geometry to change the cost of moving through space itself. When physics, materials, and trajectory are no longer separate departments, the universe becomes a single engineering problem. To survive the dark, we don't need a smarter rocket. We need triad engineering.